Great. Uh, Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's wonderful webinar on the opportunities for chartered accountants in Kuwait. It's lovely to have you all in midst for this webinar, and it's a great pleasure to have with us among us Rohit ji, Ketan ji, and Utpal ji, who graciously accepted the offer for being with all of us today here and share their experiences about the opportunities which are there in Kuwait and how things are evolving, the economy is evolving, right, and how we can all benefit from that. So, without wasting much time, I would first like to invite Rohit ji, our chairperson, to address us all, and then let us take this webinar ahead. Rohit ji, to you.
Thank you, Anirudh. Pleasure to be part of this session. So, namaste and warm greetings from Kuwait to all the esteemed members joining today's Global Udan webinar on positioning yourself in leadership role in Gulf from Kuwait perspective. So, I am just to introduce myself. I am a CA Rohit Agarwal, current chairperson of the ICA Kuwait chapter. It is an honor to be part of this wonderful ICI India initiative, Global Udan, which truly lives up to its name by helping professionals soar to new heights, especially across global borders. ICI Kuwait chapter, just to brief about ICI Kuwait chapter, is one of the most vibrant overseas chapter under the umbrella of ICAI. It was established in 2006, and our chapter serves as a home away from home for over 500 chartered accountants working across various sectors in Kuwait, which not less than oil and gas, finance, auditing, manufacturing, consulting, and government-linked entities. So we are committed to the professional development and well-being of our members by organizing high-quality CP session, industry interaction, student support program, and community engagement. As a chapter, we also strive to strengthen the India-Kuwait connection by engaging with Indian embassy officials, corporate leaders, and the broader diaspora. We take pride in promoting the values of ICI and serving as brand ambassador for the Indian accounting profession in Kuwait. We truly appreciate the Global Udan platform for creating opportunities to connect with ICI members across the world, and we look forward to greater collaboration and exchange of ideas between domestic and overseas members. So a big thank you to ICI India and especially to CA Abhayji and CA Sanjeevji, our respected Central Council members and part of development of international trade services and WTO direct trade for this opportunity. So I wish all the best for the great success and continued growth of this webinar. So all the best, Ketan and Utpal from Kuwait for this webinar. So Jai Hind, Jai ICI. Over to you, Anirji.
Thank you, Rohit ji. Thanks for addressing all of us and giving us the cue. Very quickly, continuing with the session. First of all, I'll just take this opportunity to quickly introduce myself. I am Chartered Accountant Anirudh Soni. I have over 19 years of experience now in F&A outsourcing services. Have been working with some of the prime multinational outsourcing organizations over the last 18, 19 years. And really happy to be among all of you. Okay, so with that, let me take this opportunity to welcome quickly Ketan ji and Utpal ji. So Utpal ji, starting with you, would you like to just have a brief round of introduction, and then please share your experiences about how over the years you have progressed in your careers and your experiences in Kuwait, and then with that we'll also hand it over to Ketan ji. Yes, Utpal ji. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Anirudhji, and I think it's a pleasure to have invited in this session. And of course, ICAI and ICAI Kuwait chapter is doing a fantastic job, and I'm really honored to have this participation. So, to brief me, I'm a chartered accountant, almost 20 plus years experience. Throughout my career, I worked with consulting and banking. Started off, and I think just to introduce myself, currently I work with Al Ahli Bank of Kuwait as a deputy group CFO, and prior to and almost now a decade in Kuwait. Prior to that, I worked with various banks in based out of Bombay, JP Morgan, ANZ, Kotak. Started off my career and training with PricewaterhouseCoopers. So that's a brief on me. Almost Kuwait is a second home, as I would say. And as we talk, I think as since the global Udan, I'll be relocating to Dubai in a different role very soon as a group CFO with one of the alternate asset management buy side private equity. So that's the brief on me, and absolutely right. So
Yeah. Would you like to share some of your experiences with Palji over the years, how you have progressed in your career, and how you are finding your experiences in Kuwait?
see, it's a very interesting question. Okay, and the way my personal experience, so everyone has his own in terms of it, right? So always. Uh, I was when I started my career, I wanted to work in banking definitely, and to share with you, I did my article training, chartered accountancy along with foundation. So at that point of time, you have to choose. Okay, always aspire to work in a big four training, and but that becomes a challenge when you do. So so it was a conscious plan to work for some time in a consulting and then look at banking. So it was and it was a planned thing, and I was fortunate what you thought you get in terms of it. But one of the things which I would say personally from my side, I never thought that I was born and brought up in Bombay, never wanted to relocate ever outside Bombay per se. So that's what, and I worked almost for 10 to 12 years with JP Morgan, ANZ, Kotak, and it has been a great learning experience. So these are the foundation stone for an ICAI really through the program, and it's in your DNA, right? So you always have that eye of detail, and so that really helps in terms of it, and the banking itself is much more dynamic. Each and every, even though it's a banking, each and every organization which I work throws with you a different challenges and a different experience in terms of, just to share with you, Kotak, from Pricewaterhouse to Kotak when I joined. In terms of it, Kotak at that point of time was just growing, and it gives you the true entrepreneurial spirit. It gives you a platform. It's up to you as an individual. How do you grab those opportunities? So that's something which I would really say that really is so you need to always have eager to learn and take opportunities, because you can never plan things. Okay, so you always, whatever comes, you do it honestly, build your network, and that's the key to success ever. So then Kotak again was a fantastic journey, learned a lot. It was a financial conglomerate at that point of time, so worked across various businesses in terms of retail, corporate banking, investment banking, and then okay, thought of why not explore the foreign banks, right? So always, so worked for a couple of years in Kotak. Then JP Morgan came in terms of it. It was completely a different cultural aspect when you work in a local bank and in an international bank. The dynamics are totally different. But of course, you need to, the change is not easy, but you need to have that hunger and openness, and again, willingness to really adopt what it comes and try to deliver, right? So JP Morgan was a great experience. I was very happy with the role, worked for almost 6 years there. Came to know about more details about the banking, the regulatory framework, the Reserve Bank of India, the challenges at that point of time. The Lehman thing had happened, so it was very exciting. And so again, in JP Morgan, I had an opportunity. They wanted me to relocate to Singapore or some regional role, but I was very clear that I don't want to leave Bombay because the opportunities which were coming was tremendous. It's again a destiny. I didn't plan in terms of it. It was in 2016 or so that I heard about this role in Kuwait, and never planned. In fact, the Kuwait is something which is not there in most of the chartered accountants or anyone's, I would say, from a radar, because it's not it doesn't market itself like the way other GCC countries do in terms of it, right? So it came in. I was just heard because someone from our family, my cousin used to work for was in Kuwait for 20 years. I said, if someone has stayed for 20 years, I think it's worth giving a try in that country, right? And of course, the people whom you meet, right? It's a very important in your career that it's not just about the organization whom you are working for, right? Initially, in the early stage of career, it's more important, less of organization, more whom you interact with, whom you're going to work with. I and I found very comfortable, and the opportunity was very good. uh, it was that the bank was going into a transformation phase, implementing a lot of stuff changes, and that's how I landed up in Kuwait. Never, and just to share with you, the 10 years has been a very fantastic journey. Of course, the first year and any change, and when you specifically when you change the country, it's not easy. Okay, so you need to have a lot of patience in terms of understanding the ecosystem, understanding the environment, the family is settling. So you need to really be be at peace on yourself. Give some time. It's just not easy, and I think it has been a fantastic journey personally for me. I had joined Al Ahly Bank of Kuwait as a head of financial planning and analysis. Eventually grown to become a deputy group CFO. The role itself was created. We never had this role specifically in the bank. The role was created. It has been, and I would say it's basically as a finance. Okay, I would say you have a bird's eye, and as a CFO, you have a bird's eye of 360-degree everything of the business, right? So you know everything, you know the pulse of it, and that excites you in terms of it, right? And more you do, right? So more things come to your plate. So worked on treasury, worked on fixed income book management, worked on various transformation projects with a top consulting firm, worked on various fundraising initiatives which the bank was doing, and it has been an Oracle system implementation, core banking. So it has been a very great journey in terms of and very satisfying. So I think the answer would be the eagerness and willingness to ask, okay, on what you want to do, and have an open, and another thing is basically you need to really try to be honest and transparent with all your stakeholders, and stick to your words. If you do that, I think the opportunities will keep coming to you, and you can continue to grow. That's the way, Mr. Anirudh, I would summarize in terms of it.
No, thanks for taking us through in such depth, Utpalji. It's fantastic to know how you have grown over the years and how enriching the career opportunities can be in Kuwait as well. So, with that, I'm just opening it up for Ketanji. Ketanji, why don't you also share some of your experiences with a brief introduction of
Sure,
yourself?
sure, sure, sure.
Anirudh,
Uh,
sorry, before Ketan start, I'll take you guys leave. I have to leave for another meeting. So
Sure,
all the
Rohit.
best, Ketan and Pul. Because I don't want to leave. It's a very interesting session, but I have to leave unfortunately. Okay, see you
Sure.
guys then. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Rohit. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Ketanji. To you.
yeah, so thank you, Anirudhji and Utpal. We've been knowing each other for some time. So, I also started my career in India. And once I became a chartered accountant, I started my career with GE, as a matter of fact. But, within the first 6 months, I understood that, industry line was something which did not suit me or was not attracting me too much. And since then, it's all been in consulting. So from GE, I went to Ernst& and Young, EY, and I was there in the transfer pricing division. From there, it was PwC. And this was all in Delhi. And then after that, as Utpal was mentioning, through somebody known, I got to know that there is a very vibrant chartered accountant community in Kuwait, and there are some good opportunities. And luckily, I got another breakthrough in EY itself. So and then that's when I came to Kuwait. In terms of my career, it's always been taxation. I've always been a part of the taxation team, whether it was EY or PwC in India. And then but when I came here, Kuwait offered much more diversity. and that added a very well needed flavor in my own career path. So here in Kuwait, what happened that in addition to the taxation, I also started dealing in foreign direct investment. So I became a specialist in that, and one of the key roles that I started playing was getting companies, foreign ventures into Kuwait and helping them establish operations locally. And that became a very interesting aspect of my career, because that led to dealing with a lot of new companies coming with new projects. You have to deal on one side on the governmental side, on the other side you have to deal from the private side. You have to deal many a times with a lot of embassies as well. So over a period of time, I started let myself flow freely in that area. After that, after working approximately 3 or 4 years in EY, I moved to BDO in Kuwait itself. And again, BDO also came along with a lot of new opportunities and a lot of new challenges. Here, I was more strategically focused on not only just delivering on taxation areas, but I started focusing on developing new market segments, new service lines. Sustainability was one of them, which I strongly believe that is the one of the strong fields of the future, and Kuwait has a very long way to go ahead in that. And for the first time, I also realized that chartered accountants has a very strong role to play in this field as well. It's a new emerging area, which young aspiring chartered accountants or fresh chartered accountants should really focus on in this area as well. Uh, my whole career focus, as I mentioned, has been through consulting. As something that really attracts me. And I've realized one thing: whether you are in India or you are in Kuwait or Dubai or any part of the world, there is always a very famous saying that something is always on fire, and you always have to be on your toes, and you always have to stand and deliver to your clients. So if you have that kind of nag, then I think consulting becomes a very interesting career option, because you're always on your toes, you're learning, you're developing solutions, unique solutions tailored to your clients. You are pushing yourself also to the limits, uh, and delivering to the clients the best results that they need. My career growth progression has also been such that when I joined BDO, especially BDOs, last 3.5 years back, I joined as a manager, and then year after year, I kept growing, and now I'm associate director with the same firm. So I think my career progression mostly relates to the fact that how well I was able to diversify within the Kuwait economic outlook, and how well I was able to open up new avenues for my own firm as well. So that also really added, an interesting element to my whole portfolio. Yeah, that's mostly more or less. Just to add that, along with Rohit, I am also now a part of the executive council of the ICAI Kuwait chapter. That's another aspect that we will talk with you, Anirudhji, over the period of this conversation of this webinar, and how I think being in a country like Kuwait, when you start engaging with the organizations, your own alma mater, Chartered Accountant Institute, how it really helps you not only on your professional but a personal front as well, to a great extent.
Great. Thanks, Ketanji. And I cannot relate more than what you are saying, that in consulting world, there's something always on fire and you have to be on your toes to keep your clients satisfied, right? So I can completely relate to that. And it's great to understand from you the kind of diversified opportunities that you have seen in Kuwait, right? Whether it is taxation, whether it is on the consulting side. So it's great to know. So it's something for everyone to understand it through this webinar, how they can also benefit from those opportunities. So changing the queue a bit now. So how do you, Utpalji, think the economic trends in Kuwait is changing now? How do you think it's growing? What are some of the, if you can specify on the macro trends that you are seeing in Kuwait.
Yes. So let me explain in the two context, and I'll try to connect with the opportunities
Yes.
which is emerging and creating. See, Kuwait as a country, if you see, it's a very conservative economy in terms of it. It's not it's a very strong economy, but at the same time, if you see a lot of people, all the chartered accountants or the audience or anyone when would have heard most about UAE or recently or about Saudi, but Kuwait is something always not on the radar most of the time in terms of it. That doesn't mean that the economy or any is less, right? Kuwait is one of the best rated countries in the world. If you see from S&P and Fitch, it's a very strong governance model in terms of it. If you look at the macroeconomic environment from a Kuwait perspective, and just to give a demographic view to the audience, is population of the Kuwait is around, let us say, 4.9 million or so, 4.9 or 5 million, and 70% of those are expats. And I think significant Indian expat community is also there in Kuwait. It's a per capita of Kuwait is around $30,000 or so, which makes Kuwait one of the richest countries in the world, right? So when it comes to the inflation is extremely well managed. It's around 2.4% or so. It's the currency. The central bank of Kuwait's benchmark rate is around 4% at this stage, right? So they look at how the Fed is moving and accordingly. So overall, a very stable macroeconomic environment. Not the currency is one of the strongest. INR to KWD, it's in the range of 280 to 286 is that range. It's one of the strongest country currencies in the world. Most of the, if you see, the average oil production is around 2.5, 2.6 billion barrels a day in terms of it. The break-even price of the oil is very, I'm just saying from a fiscal is around, if I'm not wrong, around 80 or so. So at this price, you break even. So that's something gives a very strong macro background, stable background in terms of it. What's happening is there's a lot of potential as we speak for Kuwait to grow the non-oil GDP, and that of course oil is predominantly one of the biggest, but non-oil. There are a lot of reforms which we see sitting in the banking industry, which the government is working on. The political environment is stable as we speak in terms of it. So the growth potential, as we see, is extremely good as the reforms start speaking in on the non-oil sectors eventually, right? That's an area which is a potential for Kuwait to really work on and do it. So that's more from a macro perspective in terms of now specifically when we talk the banking sector in Kuwait, let me just give a very brief perspective of the banking. So overall, there are 21 banks in Kuwait. If we have to look at out of those 21 banks, we have almost four local Islamic banks. Okay, there's five conventional banks and and one specialized institution. So in all domestical institutions, I would say 9 or 10, and balance 11 are the foreign banks operating in Kuwait. The regulator is one of the most conservative regulators I've seen. I've worked closely with the Reserve Bank of India, but the Central Bank of Kuwait also manages the banking sector extremely on a conservative basis. Most of the global norms in terms of the Basel, LCR, NSFR, IFRS, all of those are prevalent, and the governance standards expected are way too high. All the banks are listed mandatorily in terms of it. Only the one thing is Kuwait is the only country in the world where the deposits are guaranteed fully by government. Okay, so there's no so if you put a million KD of a deposit in a local bank in Kuwait, it's guaranteed. So with this, basically the regulation, the obligation on the banks is way too high. So that's something I would say from a banking sector. It's well banked. I would say it's not over banked as well. It's well banked, and the technology adoption among the banking sector is extremely good. Okay, there is a localization mandate given from the regulator to the local banks where you need to have X percentage of your employees as local, which is in line with any of the global norms which we have across in other GCC countries. So that's and rating plays a very important role from a Kuwait economy. It's one of the strongest rated countries in the world as well, right? So this is brief, I would say, from a Kuwait and the banking sector per se. Yeah.
Great, great. I think it's an eye opener how stringent control frameworks we are having in Kuwait, and I didn't actually know about the currency part, right? So it's again an eye opener for me. Ketanji, would you want to build upon that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, see, one thing that I do want to mention in the start that, even when I was in India, and we usually have a tendency to look at the Gulf countries from a single eye perspective, that we always put them in one single basket. Now, Gulf, as GCC is the Gulf Cooperation Council, basically has six countries: Oman, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi, and Emirates. Uh, it becomes very important that we nowadays we should understand and analyze that each country is as distinct from each other as any in any other part of the world. The way Saudi is functioning, the way UAE is functioning is something very different from how Kuwait function. As Utpal mentioned, it's Kuwait has always adopted a more conservative and a stable approach. So, as for the latest World Bank report that came in, I think in April 2025, Kuwait has a annual growth rate of approximately 2.5%. That's usually how the growth rate pattern shows for all developed economies. They have currently a very low debt to GDP ratio, and because they had specifically kept it that way since 2017, I think they had not allowed the banks and the Kuwait Investment Authority to borrow debts from open markets. It's only very recently in March that they opened up, and now they are targeting, I think, 50 to 60 billion dollars to be dollars or dinars. I'm not sure, but 50 to 60 over the period of next 6 to 10 years, and essentially they are now focusing on investing this money that they pick up from the market on the infrastructure projects. As it's a heavily oil based economy. I think oil to non-oil ratio is approximately 90 to 10, and the government is heavily focused on increasing the non-oil contribution towards the economy. There, the thought process is that they need to invest more in the non-oil sector areas, infrastructure, other projects. Very recently, a lot of new projects have been announced in Kuwait, especially to the ports, development of port, SEZ units. They are in the talks. They'll start coming up, and that is why the government is also now encouraging their central bank and the Kuwait Investment Authority to basically borrow from open markets debts. Uh, and hence, I strongly believe that the next few years, the growth story is going to be very stable in Kuwait, and the opportunities will come thick and fast in this area. Uh, Investments, if I talk about investments into Kuwait now, Kuwait has a very specific authority. It's called the Kuwait Direct Investment Promotion Authority. As I mentioned in my first part, I'm a registered consultant with this ministry, and they essentially invite foreign investments into the country. As of now, I think if I'm not wrong, there are 90 plus licenses that have been issued. So, just to inform all the audiences in India, usually Gulf region has a standard parameter where if a company is formed, usually 51% is to the shares have to be held by a local Emirati individual, sorry, not Emirati, a local GCC individual, local national, and 49% can be maximum contribution by any foreign company or a foreign individual. There is an exception to that where you can have 100% investment also, and that's where the ministry comes in. The reason why I'm mentioning this is that, the important areas where investment have mostly flowed in are critically three areas, which is IT, healthcare, and construction. All three of them essentially are government driven. And Kuwait economy also at a larger scale is also heavily dependent on government spending. When the government really spends in the economy in various projects, the economy also moves. So, the government has shown very keen interest in developing and spending good amount of money in their own economy in the next few 8 to 10 years. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good, stable growth story. We will see good investments flowing through. We will see a lot of good companies coming in Kuwait in the future, and it's a silent performer. It remains silent and it keeps on performing. So yeah, I think I'm very positive on the economic outlook.
Great, great. Thanks, Ketan. Uh, So can you, Ketanji, can you also spend some time, and then I'll hand it to Tulji as well. When it comes to ease of doing business in Kuwait, right? I know you briefly touched upon, but can you extend some more thoughts around that? How easy is it to set up a new business in Kuwait and do?
It's time consuming. It's not as easy as UAE or Saudi. I mean, UAE, we all know we have authorities like ADGM, or the free zone, Dubai free zone, where you can literally set up a company by using a laptop in few hours. It's not like that here. As I mentioned, the government is conservative in many areas. Hence, establishing a new business may take time. Uh, the ease of doing business has improved a lot over previous years. A lot of measures have taken place. Digitizing of various ministries in Kuwait have been happening. But in terms of, if I compare it to the overall GCC, I think yes, still Saudi and UAE has more ease of doing business. There are very strict labor norms. Also, Utpal was mentioning that they have to. I think banking sector, Utpal, has one of the highest localization rates, 95%, if I'm not wrong, 90.
Yeah. So overall, around eventually it will reach to 90%, but it's
Yeah.
around upward of
Uh,
70%. Yeah. Yeah. But
uh,
having said that, the finance is always you need the talent pool in terms of it. This doesn't apply only in Kuwait, but across GCC. If you see from a finance talent pool, uh, you have most of that are expats and predominantly
yeah.
Indians significantly play a big role, and chartered accountants are there across, definitely.
Great, great. So thanks for sharing thoughts on that part. Uh, so when it comes to the talent needs in Kuwait, right, and the career opportunities, what kind of career opportunities exist today, and what are we looking for when it comes to hiring of that talent? Utpalji, you want to share some thoughts?
So I would like to give you a practical experience. I was there. I think 1.5 1 year by last year. Placed myself with my head of HR in Mumbai for a week. We to recruit. Okay, and this doesn't happen for frequently, but it was really. So what I'm saying is. The opportunities exist. As Ketan was referring, it's not something where every day you recruit in terms of it, but definitely on a selective, specialized roles. And specifically, I would like to mention within the banking sector, finance and risk are the two areas where the talent is extremely, or I would say non-existent, even in the local market, and that is a great opportunity for the young and experienced chartered accountants. And one of the things which is very important is the cultural difference, right? So the way you operate in each, not only within like I've blessed to work in various with very interacting with being work in American bank, with an Australian bank and a local bank, and now in Middle East, the cultural plays a very important role, right? So it's your success lies on how you adapt to that cultural changes and how effective you are as an individual, right? So the opportunities coming back is very much there. It's there definitely in the big four. I can talk to with all my friends which I speak in terms of it, that they always in need of the talent. In the banking sector, again, it's selective, but of course, the opportunities are very much there in terms of it. Across other industries, when I speak in terms of the finance talent is always required in Kuwait and in the GCC in terms of it. So that opportunities exist. It's up to you of how everyone would have his own individualized story, right? So there's no one size fit for all in terms of like how do you build your career. It's up to you on how do you adapt, how do you learn, and how do you grow in terms of the opportunities. But opportunities do exist across. It's a zero tax country. Yeah, I'm talking more from a, and of course the cost of living is less and the standard of living is extremely high, right? So if you sum it all, it's a great potential for anyone to settle and work here in terms of it. It's a little challenging from a process perspective, but of course, you need to have those specialized skill sets as a differentiation, and the opportunities do exist. Yes.
Great. Ketanji, would you like to build upon the kind of skills that you see are required today to take benefit of these opportunities?
Okay, from my perspective, I'll talk more how what skill sets I really look forward to when we are
Yeah.
trying to hire individuals, especially in a consulting field. Uh, I would really look forward to candidates being more open to challenging themselves in non-traditional areas of where chartered accountants have usually functioned in. I would also look forward to in more dynamism within their own uh, uh, career path that they would want to decide in the future. And just to give a specific example, there are Kuwait. As Upal was mentioning, there is seriously a talent shortage within the country, and many a times we would need an individual to play multiple roles or try and develop specialization or expertise in multiple roles. So having those kind of individuals in the team which come with an open mindset that yes, I will not only just say that I'll only work on tax and I'll not look at anything else apart from that. So that really helps. Then that's one thing. If I find in an individual, especially a fresher chartered accountant, that becomes a big plus for us to hire. Second thing on how should I say, a soft skills part, definitely, I would say that having individuals which are very good and smart in their communications overall, written and verbal English as well, uh, it plays a very, very important role. I cannot emphasize that how important it is to for and especially to them talking about the students who are doing chartered accountancy as of now, is to focus on their soft skills. It is very critical at this point in time that they must focus on these areas.
Great.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And what about the technical skills or the, yeah, from a domain standpoint and how the technology is changing, right? So, what are you seeing over there the team needs to improve?
Technically, see again, as I mentioned, when we hire, technical skills vary at which level we are hiring.
Yeah.
So if we are hiring at a senior level, obviously we need to have a technically sound person with years of experience and who's had somebody who's had faced multiple challenges and overcome them. At a fresher level, we are more so looking towards the right attitude more than technical skills, because then we are ready to invest in training and development of the individuals. So the level at which we look at technical skills directly depends on what level we are hiring at.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, nonetheless, yes, it's very important to have the right set of technical skills as well. If you're hiring for a risk division, as Utpal mentioned, we have very serious shortage of resources of chartered accountants who work in the risk area. So you would want somebody who specializes in that, who understand that field. If I'm hiring for tax, I would need to have that person in that, to have the right skill set in that area as well. But I have seen that in Kuwait, we do have a tendency that we do tend to invest in training and development of resources.
Yeah.
I think the right attitude is the key.
Yeah. Great. Utpalji, any thoughts to add to this?
Yeah, see, the way I would say is, as Ketan mentioned, right? Attitude plays a very important role, and one of the things which I'll tell you based on my experience of recruiting people, and when we saw so many chartered accountants there, one of the things is you have to really not only talk just about the accounting or a finance, but how do you connect that with the business? How do you understand those numbers and how do you drive those in terms, because technology will keep evolving. So as a finance professional, of course, you need to be aware of technology, but I think you need to really package yourself in terms of your presentation. How do you look? How do you carry yourself, right? It's very important as well. That aspect is much critical in this part of the world as well. How do you conduct yourself? How do you carry yourself? How do you present yourself as an individual is very important. And of course, in terms of technical skills is it's must. Okay, there's no discussion about it. But in it's overall communication, presentation skills, how do you conduct, how do you connect the dots, and is across an understanding of the business is very important aspect of it if you want to really outshine amongst others and get hired within that. This I would say needs to be really looked at it, and that's the way. So I think learning is not an issue. You can learn, but so long as you have a right attitude and presentable, these are the two key aspects basically when you hire someone at a junior or middle level or so. Yeah.
Great, great. And there's one question that is there from the audience. So that when it comes to the unemployed chartered accountants pool looking for opportunities in Kuwait, so Ketanji, you are part of the council as well. So is
Yeah.
the ICAI chapter over there doing something for
Yeah,
making?
yeah, we are. As a matter of fact, we do. Whenever company needs any is looking forward for openings, they do reach out to us, and we do float the requirements in the wider group. As a matter of fact, no, but it's a good idea that if there are any chartered accountants in India who want to do who wants to get work in Kuwait, we can look forward to it, working towards with our head office in India, in Delhi, and see how we can correlate it. Because right now, whenever we get a position availability or a requirement from any company, we float it within the members here in Kuwait. But I don't see why we should not be able to do it with the wider audiences in India as well. Very good suggestion.
Great. Sure. And one of the question is around the language and cultural part. So we touched upon being presentable. We touched upon having the right attitude. Right. All those things are relevant. But what about the cultural part? How much important is knowing about the culture and being adaptive to that culture to have a good career over there? Maybe Utpal, you
Yes.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, see, of course, culture. It's up to individual of how you observe and adapt to the environment, right? So every organization, and within the organization, every department, and of course then countries goes without saying, right? So you have your own unique DNA and culture in terms of it. Here, wider on the GCC and specifically in Kuwait, relationships plays a very important role, okay, and
Yeah.
that holds true anywhere, but here definitely. So, and relationships are not built overnight, right? So you need to really work very hard and prove yourself at every point of time in terms of your what you commit, you deliver, you are transparent. Of course, you're honest. You go walk that extra mile, and of course, once you have those relationship and trust built, I would say there is no limit to a growth of an individual. So, of course, culturally, the respect is plays a very important role. You need to really conduct yourself in a respectful manner in terms of it. Have a good bonding, I would say, in terms of it. On in terms of the language, I would say, of course, it's an Arabic speaking, but I don't personally speak Arabic. Okay, so I'm never faced that as a hindrance from a career growth perspective. People talk English much widely in GCC and Kuwait. So that should not be a challenge at all for one to really progress. At least I'm talking from my personal experience. Of course, Ketan will have own perspective. But yes, I would say the relationships and the personal bonding plays a very important role when you work for this part of the world compared to, I would say, any other, maybe in Europe or in Asia or in India specifically, right? So this is something which makes you a difference. But language barrier is, I would say, that's not an issue because it's predominantly the expats working not only in Kuwait, in wider GCC, and people speak English quite as a language. So I think that should not be a hindrance. Yes.
Great. Ketanji, any more thoughts to that?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Utpal on the fact that relationships are very critical. And again, I'm from a consulting perspective, it becomes even more so important to have a lot of trust built up with your clients. And not only just the clients, but in my case, I deal with the various ministries as well. So it becomes even more important that you have to develop your trust even with the ministries as well.
Yeah.
Uh, the difference, if I compare between say India and Kuwait culturally from work culture perspective, uh, I would say here we have what I've seen. A is we have a much more balanced work life, and the so to say, I mean the dignity of the time of the employee is very well respected. So that's a plus for people who are looking forward to coming here. The another aspect which is critical is adaptability. I mean, when you are coming to a country like Kuwait, Utpal mentioned in the beginning that 70% of the population is expat.
Hmm.
Uh, so you'll be working with various nationalities coming from across the world. On one hand, you will be working with Asians, you will be working with Europeans, Americans. It's a mixed blend, and you need to be adaptive. You need to be uh, sensitive about mannerisms and what you can talk about, what you cannot talk about. So having that, I think, more general awareness and having that common sense about what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing is important from that perspective. Uh, Apart from that, yes, as I mentioned, that the relationship is very key in the whole of the Gulf region, not only in Kuwait.
Yeah.
So your own personal conduct plays a very important part. You have to come across as a trustworthy person, as a trustworthy consultant, as a trustworthy, in like in Muttal's case, somebody who's higher ranking in a very in a prestigious bank. So yes, these are critical aspects from a work culture. From a family culture perspective, I think it's a different equation altogether. So as it's a home away from home. Uh, you know, Majority, I think, Utpal, you would agree that when people come here, they always come, यार 2-3 साल में वापस चले जाएंगे.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Ketan, you touched upon it, right? So
Yeah,
just to, and I would tell you,
yeah,
Ketan, I also, when I came, okay,
yeah,
first 6 months, should I leave or should I stay? I think, and I coming. So, but now almost 10 years, and just to share with you personally, right? So I will be relocating to Dubai, Bandoff, and my family has been saying, no, we want to stay in Kuwait. Okay, so this is something which Kuwait does to you. Okay,
yeah,
the
yeah,
ecosystem, the relationships are much more personal in terms of it. And of course, it becomes your home, right? It's home away from home, right? So this is something which definitely
yeah.
is there.
So
Will
I mean,
not. It takes time. It takes time. But
next
but
time,
eventually, yes, yes,
I think more majority of the people that I saw moving out, Utpal, in my own experience, were in the first 6 to 18 months. If you're able
yeah,
to withhold yourself in the first 6 to 18 months, trust me, people
yes,
stayed here for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and
yes,
they've spent their lifetime in this country and gone back with beautiful relations, friendships, and memories, and a good load of figures in the bank account. As Utpal mentioned, there is no personal income tax in this country. There is only corporate tax on companies. Uh, the one more thing I'll highlight here is that, when you come to countries like this and you have organizational bodies, you have different organizations. Like we have our own chartered accountant organization. Just to give you a perspective, last year I think we organized more than 20 events, 20 to 25 events throughout the year. A lot of the events are specifically, we make sure are for the families. We form big, huge social groups. There are other organizations as well. Trust me, I say it with utmost confidence that being in Kuwait, at times we are more connected to our country than we would have been had we been in India. Uh, if you're able to withhold the first 6 to 18 months, which are a little difficult, understandably, because you're coming to a new country, uh, people stay for a long, long time. Yeah.
Great, great perspectives. There's one question around the certifications. Do you think there's any specific certifications someone needs to do apart from being a qualified chartered accountant just to get more opportunities in Kuwait?
Certifications, okay. Banking on specifically, I leave it to Utpal to respond. But from a consulting and other perspective, there are multiple certifications that can be done. But I cannot pinpoint on something, one specific certification. Uh, if I
Any
have
skill
to,
set you think needs to be built apart from being a qualified CA to get more opportunities opened up?
I mean, being a chartered accountant itself from India is a big plus in this country, being very honest. Uh, in general, I'm saying that I don't believe in adding certifications just to get some name added. If I'm taking up a course, I think it should really add value to my knowledge. It should really add value to my ability to deliver better uh, work after the certification is complete. Then it would make sense. Uh, Quite a few of the chartered accountants who are even CFOs or in the highest positions don't have as such a multitude of certifications. They just developed an expertise in their work and they just carried on from there. Apart from that, there are a lot of international certifications that one can do and take benefit. But if you're saying that if there is any particular certification that you can do that will help you get a job faster in Kuwait, I really don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's something like what Utpalji was mentioning. Apart from just understanding numbers and all, right? You need to also start understanding business behind the numbers. I think,
Absolutely, very critical.
yeah, that
That
is.
plays a very important role. And chartered accountancy itself is a big enough certificate. Work, I think one of the things which I've seen, observed when we recruit people and seen even last year when I was in Bombay for recruiting multiple roles is I think people have to really work on the overall soft skills. How do you conduct and present yourself? I think that is a very important aspect for being recruited. I don't think you need any other certification at any stage of your career. It's an ongoing learning, right? So certification is just a tool, right? So you keep learning, and that's how you make yourself employable as per se, right? So that's it. And I think the soft skills is, I would say, and presenting plays a very important role for the chartered accountants to really, at least specifically the young chartered accountants coming out, absolutely to really be more employable.
Yeah,
And one
I
more thing
think
I want to add, Anirudh and Utpal, your thoughts also on this. I think now with AI developing very quickly, and this is a fresh, I wouldn't say a challenge, a fresh opportunity for the young graduating chartered accountants. That if you're just restricting yourself to number crunching or just going into
yes.
numbers without, as you mentioned, Anirudh, understanding the business, understanding, developing an understanding of geopolitics, developing an understanding of macroeconomic indicators, I think that AI based chat GPT will be able to do at thousandth of a time required. So, one
Absolutely.
ha- uh, y- uh, I think it's very critical. I cannot even stress how important it is for the young graduates to really focus on their personalities.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think there's some targeted questions around if we want to be internal auditors in Kuwait. So, is there a certification requirement regulatory wise for doing that? Or it can be started, or someone wants to develop a practice in Kuwait. So, what are the requirements around that? How easy it is to develop a practice, Ketanji?
Okay, in terms of practice, that's a very good question. In terms of practice, up till now, see, to have a practice here, just like you need a accounting license,
Yeah.
and that, if I'm not wrong, the accounting license is again you would need the local support, Kuwaiti national, who's given those certification exams to obtain the license, and then you can carry forward your work in the establishing your own practice in that area. uh, up till now we have not seen this side of business being developed too much, unlike Dubai, where we have a lot of CA firms in India who have branch offices in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, or even now Saudi being opening up. uh, that has not happened in Kuwait. So that does remain an opportunity, but not so much. I would not say the as of now the opportunity is not that strong in developing your own practice, because see, it's as I said, it's a conservative economy. There are a lot of entry barriers into Kuwait in terms of legal barriers of having your own company. As I mentioned, 5149 is a golden rule in the Gulf region, where you now forget practice, chart accountants, the standard practices that we have. A normal business, even you need a 51% Kuwaiti national in that, with 51% shareholding. So there are entry barriers here in Kuwait. But I think at the same time, there are a lot of opportunities for Anirudh, for outsourcing. Now, that's something that should be really looked into. Rather than saying that, okay, I want to come and establish a CA practice here, a
Yeah.
typical practice that we see in India, having more focus on outsourcing, I think, can really help.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's true, Ketan. And I think just to add on this, Anirudh and Ketan, based on our personal experience of dealing with consultants and all of those, you don't restrict yourself if you want to be having a business advisory or anything in Kuwait. You don't have to be in Kuwait. Okay, so
Right.
the foreign currency, everything is regular, freely. So you can hire, for example, if we need someone to be hired as a consultant from India, we do that. If you need someone from the Middle East, you do that. So not
Yeah.
necessarily per se you have to be on the ground. Of course, there are certain services which you can give as an auditor and all of that when you're on the ground office. But otherwise, from a wider scheme of service, there's a lot of potential. Of course, the essence, the talent requirement is always there. The skill set gap is always there in terms of a lot of aspects, either in terms of advising on a risk matter, on a valuation, in terms of structuring or any of those aspects, or specialized services on particular automation which you would like to look at it. So there is a scope across, and you don't have to restrict yourself to be in Kuwait. You can be anywhere so long as you have those
Yeah.
relationships and connections built. And another thing is, once you worked and proved yourself, always first time is difficult. And I think then the businesses will start coming in, right? So the first entry is always a lot of challenge. But once you have that, and once you have proved your worth, I think then of course definitely the things start moving in.
Great. Thanks. Thanks. I think a lot of great perspective being shared. Uh, One thing I think we can also add is on the industries, right? Is there specific industries where we have more opportunities in Kuwait from one versus the other, Ketanji?
From an industry perspective, see, as I said, now I have seen more influx of typically three industries that are coming in Kuwait. One is the obviously one of the cornerstones of Kuwait has been the oil companies and all the companies that support oil companies in and around. Second one has been banking and finance. These have been traditionally the dominating industries in Kuwait, and there are always requirements here. But now we have seen a lot of new tech industries coming in. We see healthcare, we see IT, specifically IT. Kuwait needs to really develop its IT capabilities very quickly, and it is working on that area. So these are new sectors that are coming in, and these industries are developing very fast in the country. Now, as the industries develop, the opportunity of hiring chartered accountants also increases. The opportunity to get good outsourcing business from these companies also increases. Utpal mentioned very correctly that these days, for majority, apart from the audit certification, you don't need to be physically present in the country. As a matter of fact, just to give you an example, when I was in EY, we used to have outsourcing centers in India where we used to outsource majority of the captive work, the standard non-analytical work used to be outsourced to EY centers only in India. Now, same thing is there with BDO as well. We do have our outsourcing centers. So the as mentioned in the first phase itself, that we are going to see good development in the next 8 to 10 years. And as I mentioned, these are the few critical areas which are really going to come up. Construction is one very critical area. IT, healthcare, education. If I'm not wrong, I think there are more than 20 registered just CBSE schools in Kuwait.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and then you have a serious need for good foreign universities to come in Kuwait and set up shop. I've been working along with few education companies. As a matter of fact, Indian Embassy had been playing a very active role in introducing good universities or the idea of having good Indian universities in Kuwait as well.
Yeah.
So these are areas that I think that will generate work, employment, and outsourcing both in the coming years.
Great, and maybe we'll touch upon outsourcing part a bit, but I know Utpalji also has to move. He is having a hard stop. So maybe Utpalji, if you can touch a bit more about the tax trends, how tax trends regulatory framework is changing in coming time. Is there any changes on horizon? And also, if you can again touch a bit upon the leadership roles, right? We just I think there are more questions around if someone needs to pick up leadership roles in Kuwait. I know you have switched from India to Kuwait, so who better to talk a bit more about that, right? So these two
So
questions.
let me take the second one first, and of course, as leadership roles doesn't come very often. Okay, compared to like for young fresh chartered accountants, I think the Big Four is a great source, and most of the colleagues which I know had joined Big Fours and then are there in the industry in a senior role. So, but hiring from outside is like very selective, I would say, in terms of it for a very specialized roles which are there in terms of it. Uh, I would say it's not like every frequently you will get an opportunity on this leadership roles. But the way I see is basically you can grow here, if I would say, to a leadership position with the right skill sets, with the right attitude in terms of it. And you need to be a differentiator, right? So you need to really differentiate yourself from a value creation perspective to the organization, and that is universal, right? So any organization you work, how more you create a value and how you drive in terms of it. And I would I will repeat the same thing for even from a leadership roles to be successful. You need to have an eye for detail. You need to have a 360 view of a business. It's very, very important that how do you drive value creation to the businesses and be a trusted partner as a CFO, not only to let us say to the across the organization in terms of it, right? So that plays a very important role. I would say to be successful as a leader within the organization, but limited opportunities for the leadership roles, I would say. And but of course the opportunities do exist, and very selective in terms of that. But that attribute remains is basically the same, because in leadership role, it's given that you have the right technical skills. It's more about how well you understand in which industry you work, that business, and what kind of a value which you can create as an individual to the organization. But most of the leadership roles, I would say, are majoritarily are homegrown, which I've seen within the banking as well and outside, where unless you go and select on a very selective basis outside, is I would say.
Yeah. Thanks, Utpalji, for that. I think I cannot agree more on that part. Uh, any thoughts on the tax environment changes?
Yeah, so the taxation within the GCC, and I think Ketan is the expert on the matter, right? So he can give more insights. But I would say from an industry perspective, of course, taxation, a lot of like the Pillar 2 regulation, and Kuwait being one of the signatories to that, has a commitment to implement the Pillar 2 guidelines in terms of it. So the taxation is something which, of course, it was a zero tax country for so for long in terms of it. So there are a lot of changes which are happening recently, not only in Kuwait but within the wider GCC. So that's an area which I think will be a lot of opportunities which will come from the individuals who have worked on similar framework in India, either in terms of the tax transfer pricing regulations or any of those aspects which are there, right? So that can be a next big potential, because I don't think most of the industry have a dedicated tax resource within the organization, right? So that is one of the areas which can create a lot of opportunities in the next 6 to 12 months as these new regulations are implemented in Kuwait and within the wider GCC.
Great. Ketanji, any thoughts?
Tax, a lot of thoughts on tax, very close to my heart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, taxation, yes, it's one of the most emerging areas, not only in Kuwait, but Saudi, Oman, UAE. We have seen a resurgence of tax. These countries earlier used to be called as tax havens, and where there used to be no personal income tax, no corporate tax. Now, Oman, I think, if I'm not wrong, very recently has introduced that they are looking forward to having personal taxes as well. Kuwait has very recently issued the Pillar 2 law on effective 1st January 2025. As a matter of fact, all the GCC countries except Saudi has introduced the new Pillar 2 law. So that's one area. The emergence of tax is not just a law coming. I see it from a very different perspective. When you talk about taxation, you see the intent of the government to convert their economy from oil to non-oil. You see the intent of the government to basically establish themselves as emerging financial markets. You see the intent to basically be taken more seriously and not just as tax havens, and hence you set up a paper company and route your transactions so that you are saving tax. No, I think that the intention that they need people at ground, they need activities at ground level to be functioning, and they are saying that we are no longer going to provide you those free for all exemptions on taxations. We believe in our economic structure, and you pay rightfully what is due in the country. It reflects a change in the mindset, not just that a new tax law is coming. just to add one more thing. So when a new tax law comes, or a tax law comes for the first time, which is happening in GCC, it's not just that the tax function develops. A lot of the companies earlier, which were not paying tax, which were not regulated at all, now have to start developing their financial accounting systems. They have to start developing their IT systems. They have to start developing their risk systems. So a lot of things come into play as new taxes are coming into the picture. So I think it's a welcome move to show the world that how serious GCC countries and how serious Kuwait is in terms of being taken into being called as an advanced financial market or as a advanced economy. So that ways it's very important, and I think it's good. It's a very welcome move. Develop non-oil income, and it's for a tax professional. I think it's good. Next few years are going to be very good in this region.
Great, great.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay, Anirudh ji, can I take a leave, or I
Yeah.
would have loved to continue for it, but I have some hard stop, have some commitment to
No,
leave.
I think thanks, Utpalji, for being with us and sharing your perspective. I know that everyone has got a huge benefit from all your experience, and thank you for your time
Thank
today.
you, Anirudh ji. Thank you, ICI, and it's a pleasure and honor to help and guide in terms of it, and it's my privilege to really be part of this discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure. So, Ketanji, now coming back to our topic, right?
Yeah.
So, I think there are more questions around outsourcing opportunities, right?
Mhm.
How the team or the chartered accountants in India can look forward for those opportunities? Is there any platform they can use? Is there what kind of resources are there? How they can, if someone wants to start afresh, what are all the resources he can use to take that opportunity?
See, at this point in time, as per whatever my knowledge is, I don't see any ready-made platforms available to know, okay, what all outsourcing assignments are available in the market. What can be the best way? One of the best ways is actually, which I truly believe is a very structured way of doing, is that Indian chartered accountant firms or people who have outsourcing businesses, they can approach organizations like FICCI and CII and request the Indian embassy here to help them identify new areas. The reason I'm saying this is it's a very structured way, and B, you get the government machinery involved in helping out. So again, this is at a macro level solution. Probably one individual goes, then this will not happen. So at a larger level, if we get involved, like I know I had in the past, I had worked with the officials from CII, from their Delhi office. And last year, IT companies had approached through CII, the Indian embassy, where the embassy invited more than, I think, 25, 30 companies in Kuwait. They organized a whole roadshow. They generated a lot of interest, and I think they generated a lot of good work as well. So, as I said, and I always will say that there are a lot of entry barriers in Kuwait, but nothing that cannot be broken through. One has to be thinking a little out of the box. So one of the ways that I mentioned is, yes, very effective. It is proven, has been done. Uh, our local embassy here is amazing. They provide amazing support to any Indian company that wants to come and do business in Kuwait, whether it's defense technology, whether it's IT, whether it's real estate. There are ample avenues available, but it has to be more structured and at a group level rather than an individual level.
Great, great. And what are some of the areas which can be picked up for outsourcing? Uh, what are the activities? What?
Definitely one of the, I mean, I will divide this part into two. One is the traditional outsourcing aspects, which is uh, MIS reports, reporting related areas. So as I'm saying, and as the new tax laws are coming, more and more companies which never even used to maintain a paper shred of an account will now be required to seriously look into this. And hence, there are a lot of opportunities that will be available in the accounting region, in the accounting area. And that can be done completely from outside of Kuwait at probably one fourth the price of what you would have to pay if you hire a individual here. Apart from that, advisory, valuation, these are two good areas. We have seen a lot of mergers, demergers happen. IT risk, IT audit related areas. Again, as I said, IT is one of the emerging fields in Kuwait. These are, I think, for the next 2 to 3 years, can be good source of generating revenue from outsourcing model.
Great. And the kind of scale, I mean, that someone can look forward to, whether it's a MSME or it's a large organization, you think that there's a specific same thought, with all the organization, that they will be looking forward to these opportunities, or any specific industry or size of companies will be
I
interested?
would say it'd be more related to size because bigger organizations will prefer to have their own internal departments.
Hmm.
So smaller organizations, now those are the ones that will need support. Those are the ones that will have budget constraints. So
Hmm.
essentially, you would have to look at companies or sectors which are constrained by budget and size. So they would be the need of outsourcing the most.
Great. And how do you, so when someone is looking to set up, how do you think to create that comfort and trust, right? As we picked initially, that trust is very important once
Very
again.
critical here.
Yeah. So how
For
to build that?
Arabic world, I mean,
Yeah.
trust is the most important thing for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So how to construct that trust, right? Because no one will be very, it will not be easy for anyone to uh, uh, build that upfront. So how do you think someone should approach this when they are trying to get into that outsourcing?
See, the way I would, if I am somebody who's looking to get some outsourcing work in Kuwait, the way I would approach is that don't try and target big chunks of work in first go. It will be very difficult. Start small. Just start small, deliver good, and then build over a period of time. If you are wanting outsourcing work in Kuwait, it is not going to be an overnighter. You
Hmm.
have to strategically think and invest time and effort into this country.
Hmm.
Uh, Another practical way of doing it is there are a lot of good Indian business owners in Kuwait, Indian business houses, and they're doing fabulously well. Approaching them for work will be much more easier. Start working with those companies. You can
Hmm.
do easy Google search, and within few seconds you will be able to know which these business houses are, and they will be more open to
Hmm.
listen to you, provide you with small pieces of work, and that's how you start developing.
Right. Great. I think we touched upon economy, we touched upon consulting, we touched upon business aspect. I think there's one more question which appears that once someone wants to settle in over there with all their family. I know you
Mhm.
touched briefly upon that point as well, Ketanji, but some more thoughts around that, how someone can actually look forward to settling down in Kuwait for long
It's
with
a
family.
great country to settle down with your family, and I'll give you a few reasons. I'm married. I have a daughter. She was born in Kuwait, and somebody who's coming with family, I mean, do develop a knowledge about what are the visa requirements, what are the labor requirements, because they're pretty strict here. So I think, if I'm not wrong, below a threshold, you cannot even get your family in the country on a visa. That's the technical aspect, and that information is easily available on the internet. Do not try and do any kind of nonsense hanky-panky stuff. They are very strict about it. My genuine advice: don't listen to people who are saying that, you know, we can bend this rule, that rule. Nothing. Follow the rule to the T, and do it as per what the government requirement is. Second thing, coming towards more of the cultural and settling down aspect. I think uh, we really don't see an issue here. I mean, see, as in Kuwait, we don't have many avenues to basically, how should I say this? We don't have many avenues to do other activities in Kuwait apart from spending more time with your family and friends. Your friends become your lifeline in this country. And people who, when I came to this country, I knew nobody. So it takes a little bit of time, 12 to 18 months. But we have, as I said, many communities. And for chartered accountants, they don't have to worry at all. Our body here, the chapter really takes care of, we really take care of our own people in terms of not only helping with the job, helping with the house, anything is needed. I think people are very helpful. The biggest example is that most of the people come with a target of 2 to 3 years, and they end up staying more than 20, 30 years in the country. There has to be a reason for that.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
the place where I stay, it's called, this area is called Salmia.
Okay.
You feel like it's a mini India there. Everything that you need is available. Everything that you, all the schools, Indian schools, you have Delhi Public School, you have Don Bosco. I think these are some very big names in India. I'm just taking them to, give people that comfort that yes, all these things exist. We are the largest expat community in the country. 1 million Indians live in this country. 1 million Indians have made this country their home. Uh, we celebrate all festivities, all events, everything.
Great. 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 I think really enriching thoughts. Would you like to summarize a bit, Ketanji? I know we picked a lot of topics, but any additional thoughts, anything to conclude upon the session that you would like to make?
See, I will, in order to summarize, I will keep it restricted to Kuwait and keep it restricted to our CA community. A very good opportunity in the future. Do keep a lookout. We will try and see that how we can reach out to our CA head of ICA head office in India to make sure the job postings are, if it is possible to do that. I'm not sure how it can be done. B, as I said, strong. We are going to see strong development. I'm very positive on the economic outlook of the country. See, a great place to settle with the family. There are restrictions, but I think, how should I say this? It will become your home in few years, so you won't even realize it becomes your home.
Great.
And last, I think the most important aspect is that as chartered accountants here, I'm very proud of the fact that we are really trusted amongst the local Kuwaiti population, the business populations. You see the banks, the largest banks in Kuwait, the largest private business houses in Kuwait, You see in even the governmental sector where government companies are there, the Indian chartered accountants are performing with flying colors. We are there at the highest positions, and that says a lot. But how much trust is there between the two countries?
Great, great. Thanks, Ketanji. I think everyone would have learned and understood a lot from all the experiences you shared with everyone. It adds a whole new perspective to how much opportunities are there to entail in Kuwait, right, and benefit. So thanks for all your insights on this topic. Uh, with that, we also have CA Abhay Chajarji, our Central Council member, joining us. So, good afternoon, sir. Would you like to share some thoughts, address the whole gentry here?
Oh, thank you, Anirudh. Anirudh, good afternoon, Ketan. Thanks so much. I think it was truly an honor and privilege for us to listen to you, your experiences, and of course, we had the chairman also join, and we had also the Utpal also was there. So it was truly, I think, an insightful session. And it's from from the directorate, Ketan. We have started this Global Udan series, which is where we are trying to connect our chapters, our representative offices. We are trying to connect the government organizations which are connected with trade services, the FTAs, the MOUs which we have with these organizations. So we are trying to have the officials like earlier we had with GIFT IFSCA, which is again an opportunity to discuss the opportunities which are available at the GIFT IFSCA. Then we invited the Services Export Promotion Council (SCPC), the chairman and the DG. So there was a lot of experience to share and the opportunity for members available. So I believe having this topic today really was most important and apt. And well, I can only say that with this directorate, a lot of initiatives we have planned this year because we've been working a lot. But some of the important initiative which we have done is the outsourcing certificate course for US market, and we now intend to start for UK market. So
Excellent.
just yes, so just to share with you, the US market, it's been 1.5 years. We have 8 batches done, where we have almost 1,000+ members who have attended this certificate course, and a good number have also cleared the exam for this certificate. And opportunities now being created for themselves. A new vertical now they are started within the firm, or if it's an individual or a partner or a small partnership or a proprietorship, they're able to get some work from US market with the experience they've gained during this certificate course. And 1st of July is our target to launch the UK certificate course. And then going forward, maybe Australia, Canada, and other countries where a lot of work which is now coming to India. And Anirudh, Ketan, that the pool of talent which this country possesses, people like you, so doing so well at the respective countries. I believe cost and pool of talent, that is an opportunity for our professionals getting opportunity from other countries. So this is something which we have thought, and we are going quite fast in this sector. Plus, there are areas like Global Udan. Then we had a very important uh, 3 days residential course for members, which was specifically at our Center of Excellence, which helped the members to get handholding of opportunities and work which is coming from US market, like areas like accounting, of course, is one area, but payroll management. Then you have filing of returns, other working capital management, investment opportunities. If there are certain investors who wants to invest in US, or maybe there are investors who are coming from that side. So all those were 3 days we had a great discussion. Then there are certain other initiatives which we have thought. But I think, Ketan, this was truly an honor to have you here today. You've
The honor
shared
was
your
all mine,
experience.
and I would like
Yes,
to say the
yes.
other way. I think it's a brilliant initiative by ICAI and by all of you that our chartered accountants, Indian chartered accountants. I think we are spread in more than 54 countries. And whichever country we have gone, we have really dominated the financial market, the all related areas. And I think it's a brilliant thought and a brilliant initiative to get all of them on a single platform and allow them to share their experience so that our members in general and our profession grows.
Absolutely. I think you rightly said, because see, we had participated in Accountics London recently in the month of May, where
Yeah.
we had an exhibition of ICI Pavilion. So there's so much good response of the accounting firms, the members there, the members of UK chapters, the members of England, Wales. So they used to, they came to our exhibition and they were actually, was surprised to see ICI exhibition and were keen to know why ICI is there. So we explained, and we specifically mentioned about, Ketan, we started an APO portal. This is our accounting process outsourcing portal which we have started. It is called apo.ici.org. So members who are participating today also, I would request to please have a look to this portal. This is an initiative where we are creating a platform for Indian firms and requesting or targeting the accounting firms globally to register both at this platform. And this would help both creating opportunities among themselves with a place which is an authentic or an authorized place of ICI. So there it is a member registering, approved by ICI, a vetted firm approved by ICI, and accounting firms, maybe from Kuwait or maybe from Qatar or maybe from other parts of the world, they would register and they can see the profile of Indian firms and create opportunities between both the firms together. So that is also something which we started in February 2025, and that's a good response. And now the process is on for approval of these accounting firms.
Excellent. I think brilliant initiative.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. But it was truly an honor to have you here today for sparing your valuable time, all of you. And it's like connecting our chapters is always a privilege, because we sometimes don't get an opportunity to physically meet. But I think this is truly an opportunity where we can
Yes.
get to know about the opportunities at Kuwait. And I'm sure you have shared your experience, and Alok and Utpal, and special thanks to Venkatramana who also joined. So I think, and of course, Anirudh, thanks so much for excellent moderation, and this is a big support for us as members of ICI, that we come and speak for all the participants, and all the participants who are here. I think I'm sure they would be truly encouraged and would have got an insightful information about the other parts of the world, how things are moving and opportunities which are available. Thank you so much. Over to you, Anirudh.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think a wonderful address from Abhijit as well, and I can't agree more. The kind of insights this session has given from Utpalji and Ketanji, I think all these sessions gives a lot of perspective about how much opportunities are there in the market for the budding new chartered accountants as well as the leaders in the profession as well. So I think great initiative from ICI as well to start these series, and I know that will continue to benefit from more such sessions in future. So thank you, Abhijit, for also taking that initiative, and thank you everyone for being with us today. With that, I just conclude this session. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you so much.
just to thanks, and just to add, we had 900 participants, and thanks to all the
Wow.
participants who
Yes.
who joined us for this insightful session, because I think this is for all of them to create awareness about the opportunities globally available. So thank you each and every participants for their time and making this session truly a successful session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Bye. Yep. Yes, we can.